Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Golden Butterfly Film Studios channel. I hope that all of you are enjoying your weekend. So, I wanted to bring you some updates that are a bit more positive than what's been currently in the news. We have our Hollywood stars that are supporting their fellow actors and writers, which is great. The SAG AFTRA Foundation has raised $15 million in just the last 3 weeks for its Emergency Financial Assistance Fund. And some of Hollywood's biggest stars have donated $1 million or more. Those large donors include Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, George and Amal Clooney, Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck, Matt Damon and Luciana Bizarro, Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, Leonardo DiCaprio, Julia Roberts, Hugh Jackman and Deborah Lee Furness, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Meryl Streep, Nicole Kidman, and Oprah Winfrey. So, as you guys might have remembered, the strike began on July 14th, and we have Courtney B. Vance, who is husband to Angela Bassett. He is the SAG Foundation president. And he said Wednesday that the organization has received 30 times its usual amount of applications for the emergency fund, with 400 applications coming in last week alone. Courtney says, I appeal to our community to remember how tough it was coming up, and the response to help their fellow performers has been incredible, immediate, and heartwarming. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson gave a historic 7-figure donation, while George Clooney and Meryl Streep, who are members of the foundation's Actors Council, have donated as well. They also made calls. They sent emails as a part of the fundraising efforts. Meryl Streep says, I remember my days as a waiter, a cleaner, a typist, even my time on the unemployment line. She says, in this strike action, I'm lucky to be able to support those who struggle in a long action to sustain against Goliath. And you know what? Just a quick note, right? Some of my own personal commentary. I feel like they are like David going up against Goliath, because a lot of actors, and I'm trying to remember specifically, Rosario Dawson, she said that, she started out acting when she was a young girl, and so many younger actors during that time would receive, residuals. Like, a lot of actors have spoken out who have been in this industry for quite a while. And they said that the residuals before streaming services became as popular as they are now would hold them over until they found their next acting gig. But since the streaming model has been dominant, these studios and executives have just basically cut the residuals. And so a lot of actors don't even make the basic $26,000 a year that would allow them to have health insurance. George Clooney says, we stand ready to get back to the table and make a fair deal with the AMPTP. Until then, I am proud to be able to support SAG and my fellow actors who may be struggling in this historic moment. SAG AFTRA Foundation is a separate entity from SAG AFTRA. The foundation's emergency fund helps cover eligible applicants' basic expenses such as rent, mortgage, utilities, medical expenses, and groceries. Okay. Other foundations have also been financially supporting striking actors and writers. Family Guy creator Seth MacFarlane donated $1 million to the Entertainment Community Fund. The organization said it raised more than $6.3 million since May 1st, and the Writers Guild of America strike began on May 2nd. The fund has distributed nearly $3 million to help over 1,500 people affected by the strikes, according to the organization. It has now given out $400,000 to $500,000 a week, compared to an average about $75,000 in the first half of 2023. Wow. But this is huge, right? That they receive such support from the top percent, because a lot of the executives in AMPTP said that they were trying to basically starve out their artists, right? A lot of these billionaires, like for instance, the president of Disney, Bob Iger, he basically said that him and the rest of the top level executives thought it would be necessary to wait until the fall quarter, or around October, November, when the actors would start losing their apartments and start being desperate in order to basically, play the long game. Because instead of paying their actors and writers a fair wage that they've earned, they would pay themselves, huge $1 million bonuses to buy extravagant expenses, multiple yachts, and just things that they pretty much don't need. Like, you don't need billions and billions and billions of dollars. I mean, I understand. I'm all for, laborers, or, earning a fair wage, but not at the expense of, other people, when you see them hurting and they can't even afford health insurance. And the actor who played, speaking of Disney, he was discussing his time as a child at Disney. And unfortunately, when you're a child star, it's a very vulnerable place to be. But he said that he played on Maddie and Liv. And it used to be where if a show was successful and, resonated with the audiences, they were able to receive a pay raise after season 3. Well, instead of giving the actors and writers a pay raise, what they would do is they would slightly change the title. So instead of, Maddie and Liv, they would do Maddie and Liv the highlight, or whatever, like, the Sweet Life. Like, they would just change, like, Zach and Cody, the Sweet Life. They would change the name just ever so slightly in order to make you think that it was like a completely different show, when obviously it's the same actors, but they wouldn't give them that pay raise. It's just, in my opinion, it's wage theft is exactly what it is. We need to keep up with the times. They're trying to now use the actors' likeness in their faces via, AI, which means that they'll capture their image once and then they'll they'll keep it, forever, right? In perpetuity is what a lot of contracts say, which means forever. And you can't do that. You cannot do that to people, because as an actor, your face, your voice, those things, that's your personhood, basically. And I'm not an actor. I have done voiceover work, though. I'm doing it right now. No, I've done it in the past in college and I got paid for it. But that was with my church. That was something completely different. But I will say that, it was on TV. I was on TV and the radio. But I didn't sign a contract. They didn't have my likeness to use forever and ever. That reminds me of the contract that Ursula gave Ariel in The Little Mermaid. If you guys, I don't know, if you see it, it says, I know she stole her voice, but it's also your likeness and blah, 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 blah. And it's like really long. And it says in perpetuity, right? And the fact that it's Disney is ironic, but and I remember I got hired for, it was a writing position. I wasn't even talking. And they had a lawyer in Beverly Hills actually send over a contract. And they said, this contract, and I read through the contract, and it said, we're able to use your likeness, your voice, your, face in perpetuity. And I was like, no, this is the same, contract in The Little Mermaid. And I went back and forth with their lawyers 3 times before I signed anything. They had to take all that stuff out, because I'm like, if this is a writing position, then you get the words on a page, not everything about me. Me. So with that being said, you know, if you take nothing else away from this video, please, please, please read the contracts. I'm so proud of the writers and the actors in SAG for standing up for themselves. And I would love to hear from you in regards, to the situation. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I will talk with you later. Take care. Bye.